Şimdi Academix'le alakalı Academix Türk Düş Eğitim Danışmanlığı'nın gerçekleştirdiği webinar serisinin son günündeyiz. Bununla birlikte 11 tane webinarımız olmuş olacak bugün sonrasında. Geçtiğimiz hafta itibariyle, hatta 2 haftalık süre itibariyle dünyanın çeşitli bölgelerinden okullarımızı webinar yoluyla ağırladık ve öğrencilerimize online olarak bir seminer imkanı sunduk. Academix olarak biz 1996 yılından beri hizmet veren ve senede yaklaşık 3000 civarında öğrenciyi yurt dışındaki 300'den fazla anlaşmalı okulumuza gönderen bir acentayız. Cattolica'nın yetkili kayıt ofisiyiz. Bugün sunumunu yapacağımız Cattolica'nın yetkili kayıt ofisiyiz. O yüzden de yapacağınız işlemler, olası kayıtlarda herhangi bir ekstra ücret ödemeden profesyonel bir kayıt ve vize başvuru sürecinde danışmanlık almış olacaksınız ekibimizden. Türkiye genelinde 14 tane şubemiz var. Ki 2017, 18, 19 olmak üzere de Doğu Avrupa'nın Star Acentası ödülüne sahip ödüllü bir acentayız. Bu anlamda da zaten bu sene de finale kaldık. Umarım ünvanımızı bu sene de ilerletme şansımız olacak. Az önce de bahsettiğim gibi ücretsiz bir danışmanlığı size öğrencilerimize sunuyoruz. Türkiye'de bizi 14 farklı şubede bulabileceksiniz. Bunlardan 6 tanesi İstanbul'da, 3'ü Avrupa, 3'ü Anadolu yakasında olmak üzere. Ama bunun dışında Ankara, Bursa, Gaziantep, İzmir gibi büyük şehirlerde de bizi bulabileceksiniz ki zaten siz bugün katılım esnasında bir form doldurmuşsunuz. Webinar sonrasında sizin form doldurduğunuz şubedeki danışmanlarımız size ulaşarak bugün soramadığınız ya da sormayı unuttuğunuz sorularla alakalı sonraki süreçle ilgili olarak sizinle irtibat kuracaklar. Academix bünyesinde bugün konuşacağımız programlar ağırlıklı olarak lisans ve master programları olacak. Ama bunun dışında da dil okulları, yaz okulları, lise değişim programları, foundation hazırlık programları, yurt dışında üniversite, master, MBA, sertifika, diploma ya da summer session programları, yurt dışında kredi saydırabildiğiniz programlar olarak bilinen programlardır. Ve sınav hazırlık kursları vize danışmanlığıyla dediğim gibi 96 yılından beri hizmet veriyoruz. Etkinlik kapsamında 2 hafta boyunca ekranda gördüğünüz okullarımızı ağırladık. İtalya'dan, Almanya'dan, Fransa'dan, İrlanda, Kanada, Amerika gibi çok geniş bir webinar ağı yaptık ki bunu da zaten webinar bittikten sonra dilerseniz YouTube kanalımızda da tekrarlarını izleme şansınız olacak. Bugünkü webinarın kaydını da yine Academix News kanalımızdan yarın sabah 10-11 sularında da yine tekrarını izleme şansınız olacak. Tekrardan bir sağlıklı bir kafayla izleyip notlar almak isterseniz YouTube kanalımızda bunu bulabileceksiniz. Sanırsam Academix'le alakalı kısmın sonuna geldik. Sorularınız olursa bize info@academix.com.tr adresinden ulaşabilirsiniz. Ya da merkez şubemiz olan Taksim şubemizin ekranda telefon numarasını görüyorsunuz. Arayarak da size en yakın şubeyle alakalı bilgi alma şansınız olacaktır. Academix'le ilgili kısmı tamamladım. Sözü şimdi okul yetkilimiz Sayın Aishah Pathak paslıyor olacağım. Aishah, I guess I just finished my turn and I'm just passing it to you.
Tamam, teşekkürler. Hello everyone. Merhaba, or as we say in Italy, buongiorno or ciao. I am super happy to talk to a screen right now, but I know you're following. So to all of students and counselors that are participating, and for you academics counselors, I call you my Turkish family. Since it's 9 years that Cattolica and Academix have been working together. So I hope to welcome you in the same way in my house and in Italy as we are right now, as you welcome me in your offices in Turkey. So 20 super intense minutes ahead of us to introduce you basically to essentially why Cattolica and who we are as one of the many universities in Italy, and sort of what are our key characteristics and what programs we offer, so that really you can try and try and get away with 20 minutes of feeling, yeah, I understand a bit more about this. I want to explore a bit more. And of course, academics are fully aware of all the details. So for students out there, please refer, of course, to Academix for all your questions, and you counselors, of course, as well. You can get in touch with me. Let me share my screen. Okay, so a very brief introduction with presentation, okay? Right, let's start with a difficult topic, but one that must be addressed, which of course is 2020. And a very interesting year, to say the least, because of the current coronavirus pandemic. Every university is affronting the pandemic in its own ways. I think it's worth spending just 4 minutes to address what happened and what is going to happen afterwards. You know, Italy was, after China, one of the first countries to get hit. And our government took it very seriously. And I think in large part, thanks to that, we are now one of the countries that are resuming normality as much as possible. The situation is much, much better. Cattolica itself, I selected 2 very strong images, one of them particularly, which is the one on the left, where you see an ambulance with, of course, a corona patient outside the hospital that Cattolica owns. So for any of you that are following wanting to study for medicine, this is the hospital you would enter through. Okay, this is our hospital on our campus in Rome. And not only did we, like other hospitals, have an entire unit for coronavirus, that's nothing different. What is different is that we also transformed a second hospital that we own completely into coronavirus patients. So we invested absolutely, and we were at the front of the battle with the coronavirus. Possibly even more interesting is that our program director, and I put the name there in case you want to Google it, Professor Luca Richeldi, he is our medical English top medicine program director. He is part of the technical scientific committee of the Italian government. And I can assure you that at dinner, at lunch, when I put on the TV, throughout the entire pandemic, and even now, you will see him on the news in different programs, television programs, because he is not only as a medic, of course, he's an incredible doctor, but he is the president of the Italian Pneumology Association. So of course, coronavirus goes and takes lungs and the respiratory system. That is why he's also been at the forefront. So for those of you, again, interested in coming to Rome and to study medicine, I think it's very interesting to see how we've reacted. What's happening in 2020 from September? No one has a crystal ball to understand this 100% to guarantees, but we've had to, of course, move forward. So for those students that can, visa allowing or decide if the frontiers open without any big issues, for students that can come in September or want to come in September, of course, we are welcoming doors and everything is going on as much normal as possible, considering that it will never be 100% normal as of yet. So there will have to be more distance, longer hours. Maybe we have to teach on Saturdays, perhaps. We don't know, because of course we can't have everyone packed in one room without the safety distance, right? But we will, of course, there are people, also the Italians in the university. So for all the campuses, we will, of course, start in presence as well. But for students that cannot come, or you may decide to save money for accommodation for 3 months and decide not to come yet, we will do of course, we are starting online. So all programs will be teaching, all courses will be taught online as well. They will be recorded, so you don't have to get up at not that there's a big time difference between Turkey and Italy, but you never know. If you can follow that day in that live moment, then at least you know that you can also go back and watch this at your own pace. So especially for those of you that are coming for maybe 2 years, 3 years, in the case of medicine, 6 years, it's not ideal, of course, not to be here at the start. But if you think about it in retrospect, maybe 3 months just of the first semester compared to 3 years is not such a huge sacrifice. Okay, so we are starting online for those that can't join us. Now, regardless of when you join us in January 2021, if you join us next year, if you join us in 3 years' time, depending on where you are right now in terms of your academic career, what to expect, some key words, some key notions to take away, because studying in Italy generally, of course, will be very different from Anglo-Saxon countries. It will be very different from the Turkish system, but also specifically in Cattolica, what can you expect? Compared to maybe some other systems, you will be studying a lot. Cattolica is an Ivy League university, especially here in Italy, and it is intensely academic. So you have to get ready to study a lot. Okay, and there's a lot of independent study. If any of you are following, for example, the IB diploma or maybe some very, let's say, exclusive schools in Turkey, maybe you're not so used to being independent. You know, you have teachers saying, you need to give me this next week, you need to do this. And here, no, the Italian higher education system is tough, but also because it leaves you alone. It says, of course, the support is there. We have tutors to support you, have professors, but you at 18 or at 21, whenever you're joining us, depends for masters or bachelors, you have to be independent. You have to go away and study. Also, even though we are private, okay, which means more services than the public university, because in Italy, there's a big difference between private and public. Both teach super well, but there's a major distinction, for example, on services. And despite those services being there, this is not a place where if you want everything ready-made, you'll be okay. You won't. This teaches you to be an adult pretty fast. You need to be proactive. And this is what real life is like. No one's going to spoon food you, pretty much. So everything is there. All the services are there, but you have to be good and say, I need this. I need this support. I want to join the sports club. I want to do my singing course. I want to do an extra language. Okay, so you grow up fast, and it's a fantastic life preparation. We have more oral exams than most systems, other foreign systems. You have a fantastic opportunity to retake exams, an unlimited amount. So for example, if you're coming and you're changing system, it's not easy, right? You're moving to a new country, you're joining a new system, it's a difficult course. It's a fantastic option that you can retake exams. And very important distinction in Cattolica compared to maybe some other universities. When you are here, you will learn things that are industry related. You are not just learning 200-year-old model theories that you can pretty much learn anywhere. You'll see when I mention a couple of rankings that our liaison and our ties with the industry so really impact not just for you as a student, or for, you know, if I'm talking to counselors, for your students to then get an access to careers afterwards. I'm also talking the fact that what you study, the book is matched with the reality. And that's a university that is huge with 41,000 students, but still can make it very, very tailored to what is going on in the industry and what the student wants. I said with 41,000 students, it's a big number for Europe. I know that some Turkish universities are huge, but for Europe, in a private university, that's a pretty big number. And we have 4 different campuses. Often you hear about Milano, which is campus number 1, that's where I am. But that's because it's the largest campus and with the most English taught programs. However, as we already mentioned, medicine, for example, is campus number 4 in Rome. And then we have campus number 2 and 3 as well, which is Piacenza and Cremona, which is where we offer more logistics-based programs and more food-related programs like agriculture, because that is the food valley. That's the territory where you want to study. Always try and choose a subject that is related to the territory where you do it. Yeah, scholarships are important, location is important, but specifically also how can the city or the town you're in contribute to you finding internships, finding job opportunities as well afterwards. And that is why we teach subjects that are related to the territory. Many reasons why you could join Cattolica. These are the ones that I sort of feel I really have seen sort of the evidence of what I'm about to say. Okay, I worked there for the last 9 years, and I've sort of really seen this even with alumni and with current students. These are sort of really the highlights. My favorite ranking, I know rankings are a big thing with parents especially, and with you students. Two rankings to mention. From an academic point of view, I said we're an Ivy League university, but if you want to get recognition internationally, the fact that we have 13 subjects that are in the top 300 QS global rankings by subject is important. Also notice that this is a ranking by subject. I mean, to be one of the best economics faculty is not easy if you compare it to the rest of the world. So we are a multidisciplinary university. 13 subjects means we have 13 very distinct faculties, okay? And then pretty much my favorite ranking, because most of us will be going to university, yes, for the experience, but also because we need a job, is the QS employability ranking. We are #1 in the whole country for employer-student connection. Now, no university is a job agency. No university can guarantee you on paper that you're going to get a job, but there are some universities that can definitely do their very best to augment the chances of getting a job, and that for sure is Cattolica. Okay, so we really bring the top employers, SMEs, multinationals, organizations, non-profit, depends what your sector is. We will bring them on campus, and we will bring top professionals to talk to you on campus. So it's a fantastic way. Career days. If you, again, are proactive, if perhaps you get some Italian learned, you have an excellent chance. And in fact, most students find a job within, there's an 85, 90, or in some cases 100% employment rate within 12 months of graduation. Again, services, you have a Turkey country manager. Myself, you have representatives like Academix in 14 different branches in your country. You have a dedicated admissions office that knows exactly what's going on in Turkey in terms of, your schools, your diplomas, your exams. You have full support when it comes to immigration and applying for your visa and permit of stay. You have career services, you have a healthcare center. There's a lot of services that we offer. Maybe this is normal. You're like, yeah, I hear this all the time for Anglo-Saxon universities. This is not necessarily the norm for continental Europe. For Italy, maybe sometimes for Spain, for France, this is not so obvious. And it's something definitely to consider. That is why also our tuition fee compared to a public university costs a little bit more. That's because it's reinvested in services for students. Okay. Again, this is just a list of some of the services that we offer. Accommodation is offered on campus, for example, in Rome, in Piacenza, in Milan. We're right in the city center, so it would be impossible. It would be like teaching, for example, in Istanbul on Istiklal. You wouldn't be able to get some decent apartments there. So there you need to, we support you in finding accommodation elsewhere. But we are totally central for Milan, but I said the other campuses also have accommodation on campus. Again, some, because I would need a presentation only for logos of the companies we work with. This is just, I've taken the ones that I also know in Turkey you would recognize a bit more. Ferre's a huge one. Unicredit, Banca Intesa, if you're in the banking sector, I mean, really regardless of what sector you're in, if we teach it, you're going to be well connected with that. Also, don't think that coming to Italy is your end to getting an international experience. Anyone of sort of my age and beyond will tell you that now employers want international experiences, yeah? And so don't forget that in Italy as well, we are not a saturated country with international students. There are few of you compared to US and Canada and Australia, so the ones that have been getting more students. So you will stand out for your language skills and for your cultural knowledge. But to augment it even more, if you wanted to go, for example, to the States but can't afford it, or necessarily because of politics, or right now because of Brexit in the UK, don't think it's a closed door. We work and we have partnerships with some of the best universities. I'm talking Stanford, UCLA, LSE, in really pretty much all the 5 continents. There are over 82 partners. So whether it's for an internship, a summer program, a language course, it doesn't matter. You can go, you should go within your time here abroad and come back. That's because our Cattolica prestige allows us to network with some of these universities. Now, if you're interested in a bachelor degree, these are the programs that we offer based also on the campuses. Communication management is new, psychology is new. Just a word on communication management. We focus on food and fashion. Okay, so there are many communication degrees out in the world, but not everyone focuses on the 2 major exports of this country, which are food and fashion. So if that's something you're interested in, it's definitely worth considering. Psychology as well, interesting to note, it's not necessarily super scientific. You will do neuroscience, you will do cognitive behavior, but you will also do work psychology, so organizational psychology, you will also do child psychology. In 3 years, you get a chance to taste a bit of everything, and then you decide what to do. Do you want to specialize in marketing? Do you want to go and do this classical psychology course? That's up to you, okay? But you get a chance to try everything. Economics and management, of course, is one of our most popular programs. You will need good mathematics on that. I'm going to talk about that during the entry requirements. International relations and global affairs. It's a program with more international students than Italian students. So it's fantastic to be able to not just study politics on a book, but to actually turn around to your right or to your left and talk to someone from a completely different nationality as well. Medicine and surgery, of course, is a super niche program. It is extremely tough, but my oh my, does it give you a fantastic chance. We give more places for international students. The latest news is that now we have 50 places for non-Europeans and 30 places for European students based on your nationality. It's not common that as a Turkish student, you would have more spots than an Italian person for a program here. So that's something certainly to look into. And food production management, Italy, Turkey, we're two countries where we do so much with food. It's a major export. Your dairy products, your dried fruit products, your nuts, that's something that you guys do very well. We do also a lot of dairy. We do food processing. We retransform food, okay, pasta, chocolate, coffee. So that's something to certainly look into. In 2050, there are 10 billion people on this planet. There's not enough food. We need people who can identify how to produce food in a sustainable manner and to bring it from the ground to the table in a way that is sustainable at environment level, and of course from a financial point of view and from a social point of view. We also have a lot of masters and a lot of 2-year programs, because in Italy you have 2 years and 1 year. A lot of these are open, so if any of you are at a postgraduate level right now and you're interested, definitely get in touch. There are still spaces. The good news, let's say, about coronavirus is that it allowed us to extend many deadlines, so we have more flexibility. So definitely get in touch with Academix or with myself to find out which programs we have on board. Now, I'm going to focus especially on the entry requirements for undergraduate level, because most students struggle with this part. The masters can be a little more flexible, so let's just focus on this. If you are studying a Turkish national system, you will need to pass your final exam, so the YKS, okay, step 1, step 2. If any of you have done it already this year, good luck for the results on the 28th. Actually, no, you haven't done it yet because it's a little later, but good luck for the results on the 28th of July. If you are interested in economics or in international relations, you need good maths. Does it sound obvious? Maybe, but you would be surprised. We are really one of the top 150 in the world, and it is tough. So you want to, if you're doing the national diploma, then again, you want to look at getting an average of 80 out of 100, okay, minimum, if you want to sort of get in pretty fast and get an offer without big problems. If you don't have that, then I would suggest doing an SAT or an ACT to boost, to prove that you can do your maths and you can deal with numbers well. If you're doing the IB diploma, if you're doing AI or AA, then you want to get on a standard level of 5 or 4. Okay, 4 or 5 is what you're looking at with an IB diploma. Of course, we're not an English-speaking country, so we're not going to expect perfection in English, but you do need to provide a B2 level, so a 6 overall for IELTS, a TOEFL of 80. For the masters, this can go up to 85 for TOEFL or 6.5. It depends on the program. And of course, if you're doing A-levels, the American diploma, or if you're doing an IB diploma, then of course you are waived because you're already studying 100% in English. Also, if you're doing a Turkish school and you are getting taught 100% in English, you are waived. Or if you're doing a Turkish university that teaches 100% in English, you are waived from that language proficiency. Just a word about the medical entrance exam. We do offer it in Istanbul, but the news is that we may be able to offer it also from home. So that's fantastic. You don't have to actually worry about getting to a test center, let alone flying to another test center to sit an exam, which is really pretty tough, okay? And then if you want to do a 2-year Master's of Science, then you know that you need a degree that is very similar, okay? It's not the general rule, We can have an occasional sort of engineer apply for management, for example, but the general rule is that you need a similar background. Instead, if you want to do a one-year master's, then it's really much more flexible because they're more practically oriented. In terms of tuition fee, our bachelor degrees are 8,000 euros, but we do offer small but many UCSC international scholarships. So basically, if you apply within the deadlines, if you're high up on the ranking, if you get an offer, there's a very good chance of getting an offer and getting a scholarship with that. And that takes down the tuition fee to only 5,000 euros a year. Medicine and surgery, of course, you're paying for almost one-to-one teaching with a hospital on campus with laboratory works. Of course, it's going to cost a bit more, and that's 800 euros, almost 16,000 euros. And that is, you do have financial aid by the government that you can apply for as well. The master's of 2 years costs 6,000 euros, and the 1 year specializing masters, they range between a minimum of 7,000 and a maximum of 12,000. That's pretty much me just flying through that. As I said, I am the Turkey country manager. As soon as COVID is out there and finished and it's safe for me to do so, I will be getting to your country. But in the meantime, start asking questions, okay? Start following us on social media, because that's a great way also to get in touch with students. And at this point, I'm just actually going to leave the floor to questions. Okay, so we can re-go into detail of any particular aspect that needs that. There we go.
Sorusu olan arkadaşlarımız sorularınızı alabiliriz sanırsam. Aisha, I guess, is that all right? You just finalized the presentation, now it's time for the QA.
Sorry, I didn't understand that, Selçuk.
I guess it's time for QA session, right? You just complete all the presentation.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Evet.
Sorular varsa arkadaşlar alabiliriz. Türkçe olabilir, İngilizce olabilir. Danışmanlarımız sizlerden de alabiliriz.
Use the counselors as well. If there's anything that you want to help me help you with, of course, feel free.
Sorularınız yok mu? Bir tane var. Doğa Hanım'dan. Aishah,
Okay.
questions start coming for you.
Okay, I see the questions in the chat. So I'm going to start answering for some of them, if that's okay. So we have a question: which languages do you teach at the university? We teach in English and in Italian. So if you want to study in Italian, you need to prove that you have a B2 level of Italian. If you want to study in English, you need to provide that language certificate for English. You never need to know Italian officially if you want to study in English. However, I super strongly suggest you do. Because the rest of the university, expectation management, they speak Italian, okay? And I speak my 14 words of Turkish, but the rest of them won't. So you do need to work on your Italian when you're here. It will help you infinitely, especially when you're looking for part-time jobs, because you can work 20 hours part-time. And also when you're looking for, you know, the internship or the job after you finish, okay? So Nuri is asking, can you tell us more about scholarships? So again, if you are applying for a bachelor degree or if you're applying for a master's of science degree, you don't need to do anything specific. You apply, and we, based on your profile, or if you have a Skype interview in some cases, are going to decide if to offer you one of our partial tuition fees, okay, scholarships, because we don't have 100% full scholarship. We only give a tuition fee reduction. Okay. In the case of the one-year masters, it's much more competitive because they're more industry focused, and a lot of the times it's not even the budget of the university, but it's a budget of a specific company or organization. So there it's a bit harder, but again, it can range from 20% tuition fee discount right up to 50%. It really depends on the masters. That's why you need to talk to us and check, or on the website, like all the different options. But all these tuition fees reductions and these scholarships are based on your merit. We won't ask you, you know, how much you earn or your family. That is a different thing. That is what you do with the government. But with the university, it's very easy in the sense for you, because we look at what grades you got, what's your GPA, what's your profile, what's the motivation letter, how did you perform in a Skype interview. It's a very holistic. It is, so we have a question. Do we teach 100% in English? Yes, indeed. You do. Otherwise, we would have to ask you proof for the other percentage, but no, it is 100% in English if you're coming to do in English. We do have extra language courses, absolutely. In Cattolica, languages is huge. So even if you're studying economics, there is a language course inside. If you're doing, of course, languages, you have languages. If you're doing international relations, you have language. Language is always a very important part of the program. So, and of course, if you, for example, need to do French as part of the program, but you are currently studying Chinese and you want to carry on with that, we also have a language center where you, for your hobby, privately can also do that. Okay. Accommodation question from Nilay.
Abi merhaba. Afiyet olsun. Ama tamam, başka bir şey satarız. Paketini güzelleştiririz abi. Allah Allah.
Their microphone. There we go. Accommodation. So in Milan, we have accommodation that is not ours, but we work with providers. So students or you counselors help students getting in touch with these safe, legal, 100% speaking, English speaking providers. That's their job. That's what they do. They find accommodation. Okay. And Milan is the most expensive city. So you're probably going to look at a 500 euro average for monthly. Okay. For a good room, for a decent area in a good room. For Piacenza, for Cremona, there's a new campus in Cremona this year, already from October. For Rome, we actually have accommodation on campus or right outside campus. So there, again, on the website, it says. So it really depends on the campus. Okay. We accept the TOEFL exam, Berna, and we also accept IELTS. And this year, because of coronavirus, we've also accepted for many programs the Duolingo, because they're faster in the giving the results. Okay. So Nuri also asks, is it hard to learn Italian with a daily life in Italy? And can Cattolica offer us a course or something similar? So Cattolica certainly has a course for all levels in Italian. Honestly, if it's not enough, you don't have to stick with Cattolica. There are so many language schools. I had to learn. I was also country manager for Spain. I didn't have time to study Spanish, so I downloaded an app. Let's say that in 2020, there's no excuse not to learn languages at your own pace, okay? Technology is there to assist. I know Academix work with language schools as well, so if you're very serious about it, of course, you can also get in touch regarding language schools. But yes, you definitely have an option to study Italian in Cattolica and also outside. Language school program, the city council offers free courses, and of course, as you said, with your daily life, that certainly helps as well. We have a question. Is it possible to get DSU scholarships for students who study in Cattolica? DSU is short for Diritto allo Studio Universitario, which is the right to study in university. If you want to translate it, this is financial aid by the government. Yes, every single university, if you're a student, you can apply for DSU unless you're on a one-year master's. You cannot apply for DSU, but it doesn't matter if it's private university, public university. If you are on a bachelor degree or if you're on a master's of science, you can definitely apply for DSU. The reason why I don't necessarily recommend it, because it's amazing, at the same time, it's very dangerous. Let me explain. If you apply, you are eligible, and this is based on your family income, great, you don't pay anything. Your entire tuition fee is waived, and that is fantastic. However, there's always a but. You need to apply once you are here, you don't know in advance. And if you don't get it, because competition is increasing, there are more and more international students, especially in public universities, that are attacking this, because public universities don't always have their own scholarships to offer, then I think it's going to get more and more hard to be eligible. And if you don't get it, you need to have the money to stay here anyway, because otherwise, what are you going to do? Are you going to leave? Are you going to quit after 1 year? I would hate that for you. It's a problem for everyone. So DSU is, you're very welcome to apply, but make sure you have backup just in case it doesn't go quite right. The SAT does not help for scholarships for psychology. So SAT, if you're applying for psychology, for food production management, or for communication management, or for medicine, honestly, the SAT is not, don't even bother. I mean, it's not something that we look at. If you're doing it because you're applying to other universities, or you're applying for economics or international relations, sure. But don't do it if you're just thinking of applying for psychology or one of the other programs. Absolutely, don't waste the time. Right, the chart for the master's program, we have a lot, and I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna share my screen just a second. Here on our website, you have 2-year programs, which I'm gonna show you in a second, which is this one. As you can, we have a lot. It goes everything from the from agriculture to film, okay, to classic economics, to banking and finance, of all types of management, luxury management, healthcare management, business management, innovation and technology management, arts management. Okay, there's a lot. Whilst instead for the 1-year programs, it goes even more. International relations, okay, corporate communication, cultural diplomacy is one of my big favorites. Data science, which is proving very popular. International business, marketing, corporation development. Let's say a sister to international relations, as I mentioned, luxury goods. Of course, Italy is famous for that. Viticulture, very, very particular niche program, and fantastic if you want to be an entrepreneur. Strategic management for global business. So that's what we offer. There's many, many master programs. Okay, let me just go back to my screen. Otherwise, I'm gonna lose that. Okay, now back to chat. Let me see. Okay. Right, we have specific question. If a student graduated from Italian high school, is it possible to apply for English programs? Yes, of course. If he can prove, she can prove that they have the English language certificate, of course. If you have TOEFL, IELTS, Cambridge, Duolingo, you can apply for the English top program. It doesn't, you could have even done a French school. It doesn't matter which school from, as long as you can prove the English or the Italian, you have the right to apply, of course.
Aishah, actually, I also have one question regarding the new pre-enrollment procedure.
Yes.
We got such a big document from Italian government, which just takes around 21 page or something.
It's a lot. In the end, it's actually I think it's pretty straightforward, to be very honest.
Exactly. So what is the thing that we should be very careful about Cattolica? Is there anything that we should read through if you're applying for Cattolica for the
No, I mean, what the most important thing, especially for profile programs. So for example, you know, in Italy, you have big bachelor names or masters of science names, but then some programs are considered as profile, okay? So you should always look at the admission letter and see exactly the name of the program. Mm-hmm. And if it's a profile of a bigger program, okay, and it says on the admission letter, because when you are doing the pre-enrollment procedure, which is really quite basic, I've had students by themselves manage, okay, it is really quite basic, but if you are looking at the program list where you are choosing what to apply, you may not find your program straight away. So when you are going into, if you are a little confused and you say, where's my program? It's happening, it's existing, we've accepted you, then make sure you look at the admission letter and see exactly what that program name is, okay? And the second thing, if you are doing pre-enrollment for a because now you know that this year, masters of 1 year also have to go through pre-enrollment, which has never happened before.
Yes.
The English version of the website doesn't have the masters yet, and is a technical problem. So we've informed them to say, hey guys, what are you doing? Like, where is our English programs? So now we are waiting for them to upload it on the English program. So you're not going crazy. You're not doing anything wrong if you don't see it, okay? It is there, but you just have to wait for the English site to be uploaded.
The reason why I asked you this question, because, you know, I guess 2 weeks ago, you also joined the webinar for Politecnico di Milano for the same question. They also warned the prospective student that they might not see the program list. And if you just filter the program, all level programs or only English programs,
Exactly.
programs might not be appeared. And that's, they just advise the student, it's really not important whatever you just pick from the list. The most important thing is the, let's just say, the name of the program that they admit as online, as this.
Right. But everything is there, but sometimes it's not obvious. So that's what I was just saying. You have the information on the letter. So if you can just keep by PDF open, like of the letter, then at least you're sure that it's all there. But it is really pretty, it is pretty straightforward. I did a fake application as well. And of course, you've already applied to the university, so we can check your names. And if something doesn't match, of course, we get in touch straight away. Özge has a question. Do you help students to find a job? And do you have any fairs like career fairs? Of course. Career fairs are a huge deal, and we are #1 in the country for employability in terms of student partner connections, because we bring the two together. We're like a matchmaking, but instead of love, it's love for work. So it is there. Now, but honestly, you cannot be a student. You can be an A-star student, but you cannot just sit there in the weekend and do nothing, or during the week, okay? You have to increase your chances, okay, is to learn Italian. Make sure you go to career fair, even if it's a beautiful day and it's sunny, it's Friday, go to career fair, and then you can go to the lake or to the seaside afterwards, but you have to put your share inside. We often, our programs have admission tutors, internship tutors. So they can also, you know, send you LinkedIn posts. They can help you write your CV. Again, you update it, you write your motivation letter, prepare for interviews. There's a whole lot of techniques there. And we also have a career office. So yeah, but the biggest, let's say most Turkish students that have problems finding a job are the ones that haven't learned Italian, like at all, like zero, like ciao and that's it. Is not enough. So make sure you learn some basic Italian. And especially if you have 2 years or 3 years, you really have no excuse not to do it. Yeah.
Maybe we can just refresh the opportunities about the post-study work opportunities. Is there any opportunity that they can stay in Italy within the completion?
Yeah. When you finish, our immigration is a little kinder than some other countries. When you finish your program, it doesn't matter, 3-year, 2-year, 1 year, it doesn't matter. When you finish a full-time program in a university, you can stay 1 year to look for a job, because your visa allows you to enter the country. Okay, this is not the piece of paper that justifies why you stay in the country, because within 10 days of your arrival, even if this is going to be in January, it doesn't matter. Whenever you arrive, you have 10 days to apply for a permit of stay. And this is going to say for study purposes. When you finish, you can say, hey, I need to look for a job. That permit of stay transforms from study purposes to looking for a job purpose. And if you get a job, if it's an internship 3 months, if it's a full, like, permanent contract, if it's 6 months, if it's 2-year contract, it doesn't matter. Based on the length of your contract of work, that is when your permit of stay goes for work purposes, and that the duration will match the contract.
I also have one last question regarding the students who are expired in Italy during the coronavirus progress. And Italian government, not Italian, Schengen state government just announced that their current visas are extended by the 31st of August 2020. Yes, and is that valid for the students who are expired in Italy, or it is still valid for the students who just come back to the hometown as well?
That's a very good question, and honestly, I wouldn't go down that route in asking. As in, I'm not an immigration officer, so it's better that you check, the student checks with the questura, because things are changing pretty fast. So I wouldn't want to risk with an answer with that. It's best to, what I'm sure is that there is some flexibility, because of course, even for us in Italy, things were closed. So it's not my fault if everything's closed and I can't even go to the questura. So I'm sure there's some flexibility, but you have to be very careful to understand when's your new deadline. There's a question, Doa asks if the visa is only available for master. No, of course. the permit of stay is given to anyone that enrolls for any type of program, and also that 1-year extension is valid for any type of program. For psychology and scholarships, the scholarships doesn't matter which program you're going to go for, because every program is going to look at the merit. So for example, if you have an amazing maths grade for economics or in a fantastic SAT, that will give you a good chance of getting a scholarship. For psychology, there's a Skype interview. So if you do a fantastic Skype interview where you can really show that you studied our psychology, you know, because our curriculum is different from maybe the other psychology of another university applied. So if you can show that you understand what we teach, what are the strengths, if you ask questions, because of course you can't know everything with one website. So the better performance you do, the higher chance of getting a scholarship. Definitely. It's trying to prove that you've learned. At the end of the day, a university officer wants to know that you understand what you're applying for. It sounds obvious, but many students just click apply, or my parents told me to apply and I've applied. But what we really want is for you to be happy here. Otherwise, there's no point. So we want you to know that you are engaged, that you understood, that you took 10 minutes of your time minimum to go through the website and you understand and you have questions. That is at the end of the day what we want. We want you to be happy here and to have a good profile.
Thank you.
Have I put all those questions as well? I'm pretty sure. Okay. I don't think we have more particular questions. Of course, for anyone, if there's, I don't even know, do we have any students? Maybe Doa, you're a student. In any case, if you want to have a private Zoom call or with your parents, families, or if there's a counselor with a family that you're looking after and may have more questions, of course, the good news, the good thing about not traveling for coronavirus and to work from home is that it's easier to, of course, set this up. So we have, let's say, even more time to dedicate to students and their families. So, of course, please just feel free to get in touch with me. And I'm going to put on my chat as well my contact details again. Write that down.
We got one last question, actually.
Okay. Do you have a language department for master's degree? Oh, okay. Doa, okay. So Doa, I think it's a good moment if we can answer all your questions for psychology. Let's have a chat or send me an email with all your questions. You saw my email there, so that I can answer like question, answer, question, answer. Good to go back to Sanem's question. Do we have a language department for masters? So if you're coming on a 2-year program, everything I said is valid. So of course you have a course. For the 1-year masters, some of them have it included, the Italian language course. So it really depends upon program. But yes, everyone has sort of the same equal chances, whether part of the program or as a course outside. Now, Doa, what kind of things are, since we have time, what things are generally asked on the interview? When you submit an application for psychology, there is a very specific motivation letter which you need to answer with specific questions. The interview retakes those questions and sort of you develop them in more detail. And if you go on the website, you can really see that. I'm going to quickly see if I can find it myself on the website and give you the link. But it will ask you again things about the program, and if there's any particular, for example, is there something that you think you're going to find more challenging, or is there something that you think, I'm going to ace this part? Okay, so they really want you to see you've studied the program. I found it. I'm going to send to you the link. Of course, for 2020, it's closed. So these questions might change for 2021 or for 2022, depends on when you're looking to start. But these are the kind of questions that we had this year.
Thank you very much for sending the link, Aishah. Arkadaşlar, sorularımız var mı? Varsa alalım. Yoksa da tamamlayabiliriz ufaktan.
Rica ederim to everyone. To everyone thanking me.
Sunumun başında da bahsettiğim gibi webinarın kaydı ve muhtemelen yarın sabah saatlerinde YouTube kanalımızda olacak. Kaçırdığınız vesaire sormak istediği sorular olursa Aishah'ın e-posta adresini ekranda görebiliyorsunuz. Direkt ona da sorabilirsiniz. Ya da etkinlikten sonra Academix danışmanlarımız şubeye yönelik de sizin bağlı bulunduğu şube üzerinden sizlerle iletişim kuracaklar. Aranızda bazı kayıtlı öğrencilerimiz de zaten vardı. Onlar için de tekrar adına iyi oldu. Söylediğim gibi yarın itibariyle kanalımızı bulabilirsiniz. Webinar serimiz bugün itibariyle tamamlanıyor. Ancak duruma göre belki tekrardan bir seri daha yapılabilir. Süreçle alakalı olarak zaten bilgilendirileceksiniz. Aishah, it was really, I don't know what to say. It was really a pleasure to meet you again. As always,
After a long time.
your time is really precious for us every time. So hopefully it was really nice to refresh everything for the counselors and also for the prospective students. And hopefully everything will be back to the routine life as soon as possible, and then we will see you again.
Inshallah. I really hope so.
Thank you very much and have
Take care. Ciao, everyone.
Bye-bye.